On October 24, 2015, 18-year-old Ebby Steppach made plans to meet her stepfather, but yet she never showed up and was never heard from again. Seemingly out of the blue, this vibrant young woman disappeared just into thin air. Take a look.
Police need your help locating a missing teen. The last time anyone heard from 18-year-old Ebby Steppach was October 25th. Her empty car was found days later.
Billboards with the missing teen's picture have gone up across the metro in the past week. Steppach is described as about 5'2", weighs around 130 pounds.
Her family is just desperate for answers. They believe Ebby is alive, but have no idea where she could be.
I probably spend 10 hours a day trying to locate her.
Ebby Steppach, the Little Rock teenager who hasn't been seen or heard from since this very day last year.
It was obvious from the first day a crime had been committed.
Jernigan believes her daughter could possibly be a victim of sex trafficking.
I look every day in places that are your worst nightmare to see if your daughter's there.
Jernigan believes her daughter was taken.
I know that whether it's the police or whether it's one of us, we'll find her.
We're looking for anything. This is not a homicide investigation, it's a missing persons investigation.
Ebby Steppach, gone without a trace.
Well, on the night that Ebby vanished, she confided something to her stepfather that left her parents wondering, could an incident at a high school party hold the key to what happened to their daughter?
About 3 weeks before Ebby disappeared, her behavior changed drastically. She would tell us she was going someplace or with someone, and we would find out that's not where she was. Ebby was provoking arguments and wanted to move out. She left and eventually ended up with my son, Trevor. A couple days before Ebby was reported missing, she went to a party.
Ebby texted me on Saturday, October 24th, that she needed to speak to me about something important. She indicated that an individual at this house had sexually assaulted her and videotaped it.
There were 4 boys at the party. She told me she was assaulted by one. Ebby was hysterical and wanted my husband to go to the police station with her.
I told Ebby that I would meet her after dinner to sit tight, and I'd let her know when I was on my way. The last question I asked her was if she wanted to go file her police report, and she stated, yes, I'm certain. The next afternoon, my stepson Trevor came by. He contacted Ebby about an hour later, and she told him that she was outside his house.
So Trevor went out, didn't see her, asked her where she was. She didn't know where she was, but she knew she was with her car. At that point, Trevor told me what had happened, told me that Ebby sounded really messed up, disoriented. He'd never heard her sound like that before.
To my knowledge, Trevor is the last person in our family to speak to Ebby. I would like the 4 individuals that were at that party that evening with my daughter to come forward and give a formal interview with the Little Rock Police Department to either help them move forward in the investigation, clear their name, or help determine what happened to Ebby.
Well, I'm glad to meet the two of you, but obviously very sorry for the topic, very sorry for the circumstances. First off, do you believe your daughter is alive today?
No.
You do not?
I don't. My husband does.
Do you believe your stepdaughter's alive?
I hold out hope that she's alive. I take the position that if she's not, until we find a body, until someone confirms that she's deceased, I'm going to remain hopeful that we will find her and bring her home.
What is your theory as to what has happened to her?
She called out 4 guys, at one that allegedly raped her. She told them she was going to go to the police if they did not give her the video. And they told her it was erased. Ebby knew it wasn't. So she goes missing 2 days later. 5 days after Ebby disappeared, her car was found in a park approximately 3 miles from our house.
While searching the park on Saturday morning, Trevor and I met the individual that had called the car in several times that week. This individual gave us the name of the security guard that patrolled that park. The security guard has given a recorded statement that he had seen Ebby in her car and some other individuals at that park numerous times prior to her disappearance. He also told our private investigator that he had seen that car earlier in the week. He called the police department to come out and take a look at it on Wednesday. He waited for 2 hours. They never showed up. The police did not find the car until 2 days later when a neighbor called the car in as abandoned.
All of her things were in the car. Her purse, her phone, all her clothes. Her makeup was thrown around the car, broken. She spent a lot of money on makeup. She was a makeup artist. She would have never left her makeup. They also found her contact lens case. Ebby goes nowhere without contact lens because she can't see. That told me immediately someone had taken her.
Okay, now let me back up to right before this car was found, and I know that's what caused you to think, okay, she's been taken, right? Because you say she would never leave without those things.
She would never leave those things. Ebby didn't run away. Her car was in her name. The name was on the title. She could have driven herself away.
Right. Okay, but before this, she doesn't show up to meet you. She says, we're going to go to the police station and report this, right?
She was supposed to stay at her grandparents until I called her to meet me. She had stated in a text message to me that she wanted to meet in person to discuss what had happened and go to the police station. She did not want to do it at her grandparents' house because she didn't want them to know what had happened.
Okay, and so you were going to call her when you're leaving?
Yes.
Okay, so you do that and they say she's gone to meet you.
When I reached out to her, I sent her a text message to let her know that I was on my way, and she never responded from my text messaging. I called over to her grandparents' house to see if she was there, and she said that they told me that she had left around 8 o'clock that night, and she had told them she was going to meet me, that she would be back shortly.
But you hadn't told her where to meet yet, so.
We had never arranged a place to meet, a time, or anything.
Then, on Sunday at 5:30 p.m., Trevor calls her. She doesn't answer, but she calls him right back, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and he says she sounds disoriented and claims she's lost. But then she says she's actually parked right in front of Trevor's house.
Right.
Well, so he calls her the first time to find out where, reaching out for her to find her. She calls him right back and he says, hey, where are you? She says, I'm outside your house. He says, oh, okay, I'll be right out. He hangs up and goes outside. She's not there. He calls her back a second time. She answers this time, and it's about a 4-minute conversation of where he's trying to determine where she is and what's going on. She tells him that she's in her car, she doesn't know where she is, and that she's messed up. Mm-hmm. He gets off of the phone after he ends that conversation to call me to see if I can track her through the Find My iPhone application, in which I could not.
This conversation with her brother was on the 25th. On the 28th, her cell phone pings on a tower.
Yes.
The cell phone tower is in a wooded area surrounding a park, and we have a graphic that shows where her car was found versus where that pinged, and it's very close by.
Right.
Correct? Here's Shalamount Park, and this is the tower. And what's significant about this Walmart here?
Okay, there's a Walmart. Your daughter's missing, and you go past the Walmart when you go into the park. There's a good chance that she went into Walmart, that someone went in with her, that she was seen in the parking lot. And I asked if the Walmart tape, if we could get the Walmart tape and look through the footage. And do you know what the sergeant said to me? Do you know how much footage that is? Do you know how long it will take us to go through that footage? I mean, you're so powerless. I said, I'll do it. I'll watch, 4 days, I'll watch all of it. And he said, well, we can't let you do that, and we'll check into it. No, they never got the Walmart footage, never.
And what happened to that footage?
It's gone.
It's been taped over?
Yes, it's
gone.
been
They never
taped
got it.
over. They never got it. By the time we found out they never got it, we're a year into this.
While looking for Ebby in every corner of this world, sex trafficking is what I discovered. Less than a month after Ebby had disappeared, I was contacted through an email that said they had my daughter and she'd been sold for $25,000. There's no words to describe reading an email that's talking about your daughter being sold. This email exchange went on for days. It's the worst thing you could ever imagine your child involved in.
It's hard to even think about that, right?
Yes.
Do you have any theory as to who was emailing this to you?
No, it was a scam. I get a Facebook Messenger message from a lady that says, I've got an email I found off my boyfriend's computer, and it talks about your daughter, Ebby Steppach, being sold for $20,000 or $25,000 and take the bitch out of the, get her out of the country because people are looking for her.
Dr. Phil, this has happened several times. It occurs over and over. We've had 4 or 5 different instances where people have reached out to us and allegedly had her, wanted money to be sent, those type of things. And there's some really cruel individuals out in this world.
Well, it's really sick, and I'm sorry that you've been subjected to that. But you do know, even though these are people that are lying to you and deceiving you, that sex trafficking is a very real thing,
Yes.
and that gangs are involved in this, and
Yes.
They force these girls into prostitution and get them hooked on drugs so they can control them, and then relocate them and isolate them where they have no way of reaching out. And I mean, it's a terrible reality.
FBI reached out. They don't usually reach out to law enforcement. They did, and law enforcement said, no, we don't want your help. We don't want your help. This is the original group that did her investigation. They looked at me 30 days, looked at Michael and said, well, we just thought she'd show up.
And I asked him, well, what do you think now that it's 30 days in? Well, she's either out of the state or she's dead. That's the response I got from the detective.
Can you imagine sitting in a room and having law enforcement look you in the eye about your daughter, your child, and tell you that? It was so bad.
But you have a good working relationship with them now.
Yes.
And they're treating you the way you need to be treated.
Yes.
They're pursuing this case. They're doing what they need to do.
And I've told them, I've cried and said, I'm so grateful for y'all, for law enforcement, for the guys that we have now. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. And the chief of police said, you shouldn't have to tell us thank you. This should have happened this whole time. He apologized to us for the mistakes that were made. And I respect law enforcement. I always have. I do now. For whatever reason, in this case, things went wrong. And our daughter's, she's gone.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.